Well, this week we're observing a change in behavior of the malicious actors. And just a short while ago, we all celebrated when Microsoft appropriately tightened security with Office macros. And at least with their default behavior, the change was very simple. Any Office documents that were downloaded from the internet did not have macros automatically enabled. And this, turns out, is what malicious actors counted so much upon in terms of that initial vector of infection. So now that that's no longer an option in anybody's environment where automatic Office updates are in place, the criminals have dialed up their efforts to getting malware into computers in other ways. And so not surprisingly, it's done through a search engine and it's done through malvertising. This is advertising with malicious intent. So even journalists are now saying that until further notice, think twice before using Google to download software. And if you thought this was new, we've actually known this for 10 years, how problematic malvertising is. And our strong recommendation is for everyone to use the Brave browser along with uBlock Origin extension on your desktop. So this way your risk is very minimized for any user that may otherwise be presented with malicious ads. They simply won't see them. And it's nice to see Anchor coming out with the real details of the UFI security cameras. It serves as a good lesson for us all. There is an op-ed written by CISA executives about stopping the passing of the buck on cybersecurity. So there clearly is a lot of work to be done. Since so many incidents never go reported, it is often difficult to gauge how challenging the problem actually is, but it requires all of our efforts. And there's a new wave of ransomware attacks that are exploiting a VMware bug on ESXi servers. These are hypervisors that are very common in small business. So imagine reading this ransom note on your own infrastructure. It's a very awful feeling taunt, but this is what systems administrators and IT managers face when they don't mitigate this risk appropriately. What's worth remembering, though, is that if proper security posture had been taken to begin with, it would make this exploit impossible to execute. So segment your network. Don't give access to anyone anywhere except via Zero Trust. Still patch, but there are mitigation that prevents such a risk window from opening up for us to begin with. In our last story, we have Google Fi hack victims that had their 2FA app hijacked by hackers. And just when we thought that a Google Fi phone was the most secure, we find out that Google's dependency on T-Mobile was its Achilles heel. Now, T-Mobile has had more than 8 significant breaches that we can count, and so this time it also impacted the otherwise much more secure Google Fi phones. And did you know that you can tighten your SIM security with most carriers to make it much harder for someone to SIM swap you? And if you don't think you're vulnerable, you should really listen to Malicious Life episode 205, the second last episode, where it is detailed how victims were being hit over and over again, even when they thought that they were no longer vulnerable. SIM swapping is a very real risk to us all. Bye for now. See you next week.